Hello, everyone. Welcome to another video of Diversity in Dentistry. Today, we are going to bring you a very interesting video, which we hope would help you to prepare for interviews that are coming up soon. If you've got an interview, congratulations, it's a really good achievement. And also, if you don't, no worries at all. We all think that getting into dental school is very difficult and might need a few tries, and you will definitely get there as long as you don't lose hope and you work towards your goal. So let's just start with a few points that we think is going to be interesting for you guys as you're preparing. As you know, this year, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, many of these interviews are held online. And we want to stress this fact that please make sure that as you come in, you are very prepared and dressed professionally as if you are in an in-person situation, because the assumption is how you present yourself is matching the qualities that you have. So if you present yourself really nicely, automatically people think that you probably are taking this very seriously and you're very passionate and you're interested in this profession. Another thing that we want to add in is the importance of having a bottle of water or a glass of water near you, because some people, including me and even Liz, I think, when we talk very frequently, we might get dry mouth, and that might make it difficult or even make you more stressed, more nervous, and it might go downhill. So just sipping on water can be really helpful in the break times, or even as you're talking. You can excuse yourself if you think it's very urgent and just sip a glass of water. It will calm you down. So, Liz, do you have anything to add about this? About
I think that
interviewing?
now that we're doing the online Zoom format, it's very important to find a quiet space in your home, um, and try and find a corner that has maybe a neutral background and somewhere that you can stay focused and professional is key. And another thing that I'd like to note is that practice makes perfect. That's what I really found in my interview journey. That at first I started off a bit rusty. I wasn't sure how to necessarily approach different question styles. But over time, by doing around 3 questions per day, I found that speaking out my answers, I became more fluid and I became less nervous. I was able to approach all different question styles, and I even looked forward to the interview and enjoyed the experience because I felt that I was prepared to really show my experiences through my answers. And that's actually something that we'll run through right now with Rizbe. We'll simulate a few questions just and highlighting the points of what you should be mentioning and how you can draw from your own experiences to make your answers very strong.
For
So
sure.
I'll ask Ruzbe the first question. Our sample question is, what is the favorite course that you are currently or have ever taken?
hmm So that's a really sort of good question because it's personal. I mean, questions like this, your answer will be always right because it's personal, it's unique to you. There is no right or um, wrong answer. So basically, I think what really helps is to always consider the questions from the point of view of the person who evaluates you. When someone asks you these questions, yes, of course, they're interested in knowing you more, but also uh, they want to see the qualities that you've developed probably over the past few years in undergrad education. So this would be, let's say, your communication skills, your collaboration skills, your advocacy skills, your scholarship, these main areas. So when you open up the questions, when you, let's say, you say, I was interested in neuroscience, I took a neuroscience course, talk about it, why it was interesting to you, but also try to highlight some scholarship in your answer. Say that I was also, for example, if you were involved in that, I was also involved in a research project at that time, and I thought taking the course would really expand my knowledge about area where, to the point that I can possibly start publishing a paper, a literature review, and contribute even to that field even more. So that would automatically bring the scholarship quality in you. Or you could say, I really like this course because it taught me how to work in groups. We had group assignments, and we were able to write a paper together, or let's say go out and advocate for a specific issue, do a field project. These qualities, trying to put in those qualities into your answers. So when the person is evaluating you, not only they learn about you on a more personal level, but also they would learn about your skills, your qualities, what you're interested in, and hopefully all of those align with what they're looking for. And that would be a very sort of in my opinion, ideal solution. But also, all the answers that we are going to give you, these are just our personal experiences, and these are based on what we've heard from other students interviewing at a variety of schools. So at the end of the day, you should tailor your answers, and our answers might not be necessarily right. So I just wanted to add in. So now, I guess, Liz, I'm gonna ask the next question from you and see how you would actually approach it. So, what do you do in your spare time, Liz? Let's say that was the interview question.
Perfect. So everyone has a different method for approaching questions and organizing their thought process in their minds. For me, what worked was making a list of around 3 points I would stick to, and really just having a key points listed in my head so I could come in prepared and I could build off and expand from those ideas. So, in answering this question, what I do in my spare time, I would stick to a maximum of 3 points. So, if I'm drawing from personal experience, that would probably be I like to bake, I like to run, and I like to write in my spare time. And so next, what I would do is I would introduce those topics and I would build up from the first one all the way to the third. So I would describe each of those points and why I'm really passionate about them. And again, I could draw on how they highlight different skills of mine, such as communication. When I bake, I actually bake with friends, and I have created a blog maybe from my recipes to interact with different people. When I run, I also like to run in groups. I like to interact social events where I run with certain communities, whatever it might be that demonstrates unique qualities about myself through my passions. If possible, I could also tie in manual dexterity or a skill that is very specifically related to dentistry. So when I bake, perhaps I like to make very intricate pastries and so on. And ultimately, I would describe goals that I have set in each of those activities to kind of draw in something for the future to show my interviewer that I I like to continue my growth and I don't stay static in a certain hobby. I want to explore it further and continue challenging myself. So including that future component is something that I personally try and draw into whichever questions are applicable.
That's a really good point, but I just also want to add the fact that, let's say, when you were talking about baking in groups or competitions, maybe you could add an advocacy activity if you've done that's related to baking. Let's say if you if you have a bake sale where you bake and then you raise money for a specific charity per se, that would be very an interesting fact to mention and a very impressive achievement. So make sure you try to weave in, as you were saying, weave in all the skills, let's say the manual dexterity, all the qualities, the ones that you think they might be interested in into your answers. And I think that should be really your guiding light as you're trying to navigate all the answers. So not only answer the question, make sure you've answered it and you've added in your personal perspectives into stuff, but also you are actively trying to highlight the qualities in yourself. So now maybe you get to ask a last question from me, Lisa.
Sure. Your friend is considering dropping out of school because of his mother's deteriorating health condition. He finds it very stressful to balance doctor's appointments and countless consults with the demands of his degree. He comes to you for advice. What do you say?
So when I'm asked this question, well, first and foremost, this is a very loaded question. It's a scenario. So sometimes it might be okay if you ask for a few seconds of pause to collect your thoughts. So if you think you've been put on a spot, let's say it's a traditional style interview, that you don't have a specific time frame to formulate your answer. If you think the question is very loaded, politely ask for a few seconds of thought, gather your thoughts, and then answer. And it's actually good quality because it might show the interviewer that you're a person who thinks about this stuff and then speaks. They just don't want to jump into answers. So that can be a good point. But for instance, for this question, yes, you can bring in the qualities of a good healthcare practitioner into this answer, because healthcare is about caring for people, and this is a scenario where you are caring for someone and you have to show how you care for them. Well, think about a family doctor or a dentist that you really enjoy talking to, see what qualities they had and try to bring those qualities into your answer as you're talking. For instance, I would say, uh, as a dentist, it's very important that you always listen to your patients. So in this scenario, say that you sit down with them and you first offer your help by listening, by letting them speak, by making them comfortable, by making them feel cared for. When you do these things, when you mention that you're doing this stuff, it goes a long way rather than just jumping in and suggesting something to them and say, I think you should, like, let's say, work harder, or no, you shouldn't drop in. Always, then you should also talk about always considering their point of view, because maybe dropping out would be actually the best thing. You never know. At the end of the day, they are the people who are making the decision. So you should always provide your perspective, listen their perspective, and also ultimately help them come up with a decision, but respect that decision, being that that is their decision and they think that it's really in their best interest. Also, um, importantly, I think is bringing your past experiences. Let's say if you've worked in in a stress line, phone line, where these services where people who are stressed, they can call and speak with someone and get uh, advice. You can, if you volunteered for those organizations, um, feel free to mention that. It's really good trying to weave in your answer. Let's say when you're answering this question, you can mention that over the past few years, you've been volunteering with a certain organization where you were heavily involved in communication with stressed individuals. And these are the things that you learned, and you're hoping to probably use those skills, let's say good listening, taking their perspective into consideration, never making any judgments, and bringing those and into answering, into helping your friend in answering this question in this scenario. So these are things that I think you should mention. And for these questions, also think of it as essays in your mind, being that, as Liz said, everyone has a unique way of approaching questions. For me, it was more like writing an essay. You have an introduction, you have a body, an argument, and then you have a conclusion. So I start with an introduction, talking about what is this case, summarizing this case, what parties are involved. Then in the body of your argument, you mention what you're going to do, any past experiences that are related to it. As I said, active listening, um, guiding them to proper resources. If you cannot help them, these all go a long way. And finally, bringing everything into a conclusion. I think that would really make it organized. And at your conclusion, you should really stress the points that you think will stand out. For instance, if I was going to answer that in my conclusion, I would say I would definitely use my active listening skills that I learned when I was volunteering with the phone distress line, and that was, for instance, helping anxious and stressed people. So I think, Liz, anything you might want to add?
Just a few thoughts that came to mind while hearing about this question. I think first and foremost, when I answered situational questions, I put a component of myself before my response and how I would work with the other person. So I would mention to my interviewer how I would begin with some self reflection and I would gather my own thoughts. I would consider the situation before approaching my friend or whoever was involved because I wanted to make sure that I gave it accurate thought and I considered what they were going through and how that must feel. And that way, I would approach them with a certain attitude, with a sympathetic tone, and I would try to have a positive body language and show them that I'm there to support them through this difficult time. Another thing that I like to do in my answers is show creativity. So I would um, show how I can think on the spot of different solutions and strategies for that person, whether that be they take online courses to better manage their schedule. Or perhaps they could just drop the semester, but not necessarily drop out of their program entirely. I would want to give those options because people work with options, and feeling that you have the ability to choose is sometimes less overwhelming than going directly to one decision without much consideration. And another thing that I would bring up is how I would try to connect my friend to certain resources, such as a guidance counselor, perhaps on campus, who could help him or her organize their schedule and try to accommodate all the busy demands that they're currently experiencing. And as well, I would suggest that they speak with a therapist who can help them gather their thoughts and make sure that their emotional well-being is being taken care of during the difficult time.
Those are excellent points to add, and I really think they will definitely make an impression, especially the creativity part, because it's very important that we are adaptable when approaching different scenarios in life and in clinical practice in any healthcare profession. So just to sum up this video, we basically started with giving you some guidelines for the interview day that we think might help. And also, we went through three different questions, the scenario type, the ones that were too sort of general, open, personal, and the ones that were very specific about your background. Let's say the courses question was about your background, and specifically what you do in your spare time was more about your generalized personal questions, and also finally the scenario questions, which are famous for always debate people approaching it in different ways. But again, no answer is wrong. Everything is as acceptable as long as you justify it. And again, it's not about what you exactly do, but it's about how you justify it, and the qualities that you show with your answer. All about that, because at the end of the day, there is a sheet probably in front of your interviewer where they have to mark all the qualities they've seen in your answers. So try to reverse engineer it. Think what qualities they might be looking for and try to incorporate those into your answers. And finally, to finish off this video, um, the information we give you is just our personal experience. Uh, Again, it's not representative of any other organization. These are just what we've gone through when we're preparing for interviews at all different schools, and what we thought really worked well for me, Liz, and all the rest of the mentors in our student club. Uh, there are right now three sources available for you. This video, there is a document that's uploaded on our website for the members. You can go into our website, make sure you register, you can access that document. And finally, your mentors. Those are awesome people. You can ask them questions while respecting your busy schedules. They will be probably getting back to you and give you an answer. And we think you should be solid, and good luck on everything, and keep us posted. Hopefully next year you can join us as a mentor and help to continue this initiative. So Liz, do you have anything to add?
No, good luck. I'm very excited to hopefully meet you all, and I wish you all the best in your journey.
Hopefully. And hopefully we all get to meet in person someday. So take care, guys. Bye.